Heather, the very first question I'm going to ask is you've been through a lot of hoops, you've jumped through a lot of these hoops in the past year. As we sit here today, what is the one thing that upsets you the most about everything you've gone through?
The humiliation of being scammed and knowing that I have to pay for the rest of my life on this forgery check.
All right, so let's now bring me back to day one. When did this start and how did it start?
Okay, it started, I had just got on Facebook for a little while, hadn't been on there that long, and I found myself really liking it to connect with my family and friends. And then the scammer, who ended up being the scammer, he sent me a friend request, and I didn't really know if I should request it or accept his friend request, but I did. And then I asked him how he found my picture, and he said he just happened to come across it when he was looking through some friends of his.
Now, it's important to point out that you have suffered a loss just prior to this, right?
Yes, I lost my husband from cancer um, like 2 years ago. And of course, I had been married almost 30 years, and then to be widowed, you find yourself, your whole life is completely different. And I was ready to move on and maybe meet somebody and start dating.
And so someone suggested social media.
Yes, yes. And I thought, well, that would be great. And then once I got on Facebook, I realized I did enjoy it, and to connect with all my friends and possibly meet someone else. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity.
And that's exactly what happened. You linked up with this guy. Tell me how that happened. I mean, walk me through that process.
Okay, when he clicked me on to be a friend, I went ahead and accepted. And then we continued. He was very polite. He thanked me, and we started talking every day. And oh, he was wonderful. He would send poetry to me, and kept saying we'll eventually meet. And he said he was in the army, and he was stationed in Syria on a peacekeeping mission, and that he was going to be retiring shortly, probably within 3 months. And so I thought, wow, the more we talked, the more I enjoyed talking to him. And then I noticed, probably within a month and a half, he told me that he loved me. And of course, I thought, well, I don't know how he could possibly love me. We haven't even met. And so, anyways, everything went quite smoothly as far as how he would talk to me, and words of poetry. And of course, at the time, I thought he was writing a lot of the poetry himself. And but anyways, I was just kind of taken by him, and the more we talked, I never thought I would become involved with somebody without seeing them, but it was happening. So I couldn't hardly believe it myself.
So when he dropped the other shoe, when did that happen and what was the other shoe?
Then probably a couple months later, he said that he has some inheritance money coming to him, but he was unable to get this money himself, and he wanted to know if I would help him. And at the time, I said, well, I don't have any money. I'm on a fixed income. And he said, well, all I need is $500 to get this account set up for me in this Zenith Bank in Africa. And I thought, well, maybe possibly I can come up with something. And lo and behold, I was getting my income tax. So I was able to wire the money. to a friend of his that was going to get this to the bank and get this account set up. And eventually I had to do this another time because the bank needed a total of $1,000 to get this money, which he claims was $350,000. And I asked him where this money was coming from. And he said that he had saved another soldier's life. And he wanted to repay him back. Apparently this other person was well off and wanted to pay him back, and he did. And so my scammer said that he needed to get this account set up in this Zenith Bank in Africa. And then once he got the money in there, then it would be the money would be taken care of.
Now, at this point, have you established verbal communication with him at all, or is it strictly on Facebook?
Well, he did call me from, I noticed the telephone, when he did call me, it said private. It was a private, so I couldn't call back. And I wondered about that, and I thought, well, he's got an important position, and that's probably why it says private.
So you did have some conversation,
did conversation
with him.
with him. And when I talked to him, I didn't really notice anything really different, but it was really quite limited what he would say on the phone. And sometimes it was just to ask me if I could chat with him, if he wanted to start talking to me sooner, because normally I would have to check on Facebook to see if he had left me a message. So a lot of times he would call me on his private line so that I could get on Facebook and start chatting with him sooner.
All right, let's jump ahead now to the check in question, the $49,000 check. What is this all about?
That check there is
payable to you.
Yes. He did ask me questions, and as our relationship grew, and they do try to win your trust. And I was trusting him, so I gave him my name and my address. Of course, he had my phone number. And he said this check was coming to me because this was the check for his investing. And because the bank apparently had sent this money to his investing company. And what he wanted me to do was to help him get this money. So he said this check was coming to me from his investors, and it would be coming registered mail.
And it did.
And it did.
And it looked legit to you.
Yes. When I opened the check up, and I thought, wow, this really is legit. And knowing that I worked with a financial organization, I knew the routing number, and as I looked at the check, it looked okay to me.
So that's important to underscore here. You have financial knowledge. You worked in a financial institution. So this looked very legit.
Very legit. And I looked at it and I thought there was no question in my mind. And I knew from working at a financial institution that once I deposited the check in my account, that they would put a hold on it, and that would be my assurance that the check will be good.
Now let's jump ahead to when you've got the phone call from your financial institution saying that your account was...
Yes. Okay, what happened was the financial institution called me right away, and they said, do you know that this is a forgery check? And of course, that was the last thing that ever entered my mind. And I thought I should have known better, because I should have thought of that, but for some reason I didn't. I actually trusted my financial institution by them putting the hold on it. That was my reassurance that this is a good check. That was my understanding. And they had put a 5-day business day hold on the check, which means that the funds, that account has that amount of funds in it. But what it wasn't doing was letting me know that if it was a forgery or not. That came probably 8 days after the original date of the hold on the check.
So here we are. You contacted the local police, Grand Blanc Township Police, but you're still liable for this $49,000 forgery?
Yes. The reason being is I didn't know at first if I was going to be liable for it because the financial institution had their lawyer involved and they were contacting this bank out of New York to let them know that they were unaware it was a forgery. I was unaware of it and that I had been scammed. And so the financial institute was trying to get the funds back, trying to get this bank to pay the funds back to them so that I wouldn't be held liable for it because since it was a forgery. And the way I understood it was there was like 30 days I had to wait because it was the financial institution's lawyer and the bank's lawyer trying to decide what they were going to do about this.
So as we sit here right now, there's been no total resolution, but you are paying out of your pocket right now, right?
Yes, unfortunately, I feel terrible about this. I have to pay. I've been paying $150 on this almost $50,000 balance, and at my age, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but it'll just never be paid off. But for me to pay this $150 a month is really hard on me because I am on a fixed income. I'm renting. I don't have any assets to pay this off. So it's just been a nightmare. And actually, when I found out that this was a forgery check, and especially knowing that I worked for this financial place where I do all my business, it's humiliating. And when I found out it was a forgery, I've been mentally and physically sick over it. I broke out in hives. It's just your worst nightmare. Just your worst nightmare to know how humiliated I have been over this. And these scammers, now since I've been scammed, I have did research and I thought if I only had done this before, but I was so consumed every day talking to them that I just didn't even realize that these people were out here doing this from these countries over in Africa.
We should underscore the fact that, again, the experience you have in the financial world and the validity of this check, that there is $49,000 in this account, proves what? That these guys know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and when you talk to them, just like the scammer that I had, I think in the beginning, it's really important. I think the way they scam is they want to get your respect and trust. They keep talking of trust. And by getting your trust, it's making you become more involved with them. And I never would have said I could fall in love with somebody that I'd never met. It sounds absolutely crazy. And a year ago, if somebody told me this was going to happen to me, I would have said, "Well, you're crazy. This could never. Who could ever believe this could happen?" Even some of my family members still ask me that. How could you say you love somebody that you had never touched or held or? And I said, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, you start talking to somebody, or texting with somebody, and you're sharing. I shared my life with this person. I told them everything I liked, how I felt, we exchanged feelings of love. Um, you just can't believe it can happen to you, but it does.
This whole interview process is taking you through that whole roller coaster ride again. It's got to be very painful.
Yes.
Why are you doing this?
Well, sometimes we wonder what our purpose in life is, and maybe if I can reach out to just one person out there on the internet, and I know everybody's doing this now. They're going, why go out to a nightclub and meet somebody? Just get on the internet. There's so many, I can't even name all the different social things on the internet where people want to meet somebody. And so many things are free. There's a lot of things you have to pay for. So much of it is free now, and people are going, well, it's so much easier. I'd rather just do this in my home and start chatting with somebody and become involved. And I'm not saying, it's wrong. And a lot of people have met people, and they didn't have an experience like me. So what I'm saying is, you should never ever send anybody any money that you meet on the internet that you don't know. And another thing I noticed is these scammers. If somebody sends you a friend request, all you have to do, you don't have to accept it. If you just want to see what their website is, you can click their picture on. And if you see somebody that has no friends, just has a picture, maybe a military picture of themselves, saying that they're in the army or a branch of the service, which so many of them do. Don't necessarily believe that, because if they don't have anything on their website but a picture and no friends, I mean, most people on Facebook have a lot of friends. If they don't have no pictures, no friends, then I would say don't. That's a sign right there they're a scammer.
You talk about the internet and the World Wide Web. This interview, maybe in its entirety, will be posted on our website. On the rare chance that he might find this link, I want you to look in that camera and tell him something. What is in your heart right now? What would you tell him if he were sitting across this table?
I'm a Christian woman, and I don't want to say I ever hate anybody, but I do hate what you've done to me. I have to go on, and like I said, being a Christian woman, I pray that you will change your ways and stop doing this to other widowers or anybody that you talk to on Facebook. And like I said, I can't say I hate you, but I despise you. And I despise all scammers that do this to people. And there is a judgment day.